What's up, guys? Welcome into another episode of the Michigan Recruiting Report. I am your host, EJ Holland. Today, we're going to be breaking down 5 key recruits that the Michigan staff recently saw on the road to close out the spring evaluation period. As we get ready to head into official visit season, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any updates. And also make sure to subscribe to the Wolverine.com for $1 for 2 months using the promo code UM1. You definitely want to keep that promo code handy, as we'll have a ton of recruiting intel coming out of official visits. But like I said, today we're going to be breaking down 5 key recruits the Michigan staff saw on the road to close out the spring evaluation period. Now, this week, Michigan offensive coordinator Kurt Campbell, who also doubles as Michigan's quarterbacks coach, as well as offensive line coach Grant Newsome, were both out in Florida seeing the future of Michigan football on 300 quarterback commit Carter Smith. So Carter Smith, the reigning Gatorade Florida Player of the Year, beat out #1 overall recruit Jeremiah Smith, an Ohio State signee last cycle for the award. So winning the Gatorade Player of the Year as a junior, and especially beating out Jeremiah Smith, huge accomplishment there. Smith is a dynamic dual threat quarterback who makes a ton of plays with his feet, and he's really progressed this offseason as a pure passer. You've seen his footwork get a lot better. You've seen his mechanics improve as well. And he's been the leader of the class since he gave Michigan a verbal commitment in November. A few schools have continued to try to work on him, namely Florida State. So, what was funny is I was out there same day as Campbell and Newsome, and Florida State was out there as well. So even though the Seminoles already have a commit, they're continuing to work on Smith, but nothing to worry about there. Smith is completely locked in with Michigan. He plans to enroll early. He's set to make his official visit for Victor's Weekend on June 21st, and he's been hard at work helping Michigan recruit other prospects in his class. So he's been a great leader off the field and on the recruiting trail, and he's continued to improve on the field as well. The upside is tremendous. Last cycle, Michigan landed a really high floor guy, a safe take in Jordon Davison, who's a high-level game manager. Carter Smith, not as polished of a passer as Jordon Davison yet, but the upside is so exciting. It's going to be tough to keep him off the field. I mean, you're talking about a guy with a rocket arm, with insane ability as a runner. He just has to continue to improve as a pure passer. But Smith, the key member, the face of the class right now, it was big for Michigan to have a chance to go out and meet with him and his family ahead of his official visit. Next up on the list, we are going to be talking about another dynamic offensive playmaker, and that is Jordon Davison, top 100 running back out of California. Now, Davison is heavily favored to end up at Ohio State, and I would also agree that Ohio State has the lead heading into official visits. With that said, Michigan recently made his top 4, and they are set to receive a summer official visit. New Michigan running backs coach Tony Alford has been recruiting Davison dating back to his time at Ohio State. He was out in California to meet with Davison, as was most of Michigan's offensive staff, offensive coordinator Kurt Campbell, actually, and offensive line coach Grant Newsome. They actually both flew from Florida, seeing Carter Smith, to California to meet with Davison. So I think Michigan's probably running third in that recruitment right now, behind Ohio State and Oregon, but perhaps Michigan will have a chance to change things on his official visit. Davison is definitely in that top tier on the running back board that has been reset by Tony Alford. Next up on the list is a 5-star recruit. We're going to be going into the trenches and talking about Andrew Babalola out of Kansas. So Michigan met with him about a week and a half ago offensive line coach and offensive coordinator Kirk Campbell, or offensive line coach Grant Newsome and offensive coordinator Kirk Campbell, who traveled a lot together this spring, made their way over to Kansas to meet with Babalola and were able to lock in a summer official visit. Babalola recently released his top schools. Michigan was in it. I think right now Michigan is definitely a dark horse in this race. They're in the mix with several interior offensive linemen, but Babalola being a tackle is such a massive target for Michigan. Oklahoma at the top of the on-3 recruiting prediction machine. They get the final visit. So I think right now the Sooners definitely have some momentum, but Michigan will have an opportunity to really open his eyes and continue to move the needle once he makes it in for his official visit. So we'll see how that goes. But the meeting with Campbell and Newsome at his school did go extremely well. And like I said, they were able to lock in an OV that same day. Let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball. Michigan linebackers coach Brian Jean Mary and defensive coordinator Wink Martindale were both in the state of Florida last week, seeing on 300 Miami linebacker commit Elijah Melendez. Now, if you guys have been following the Melendez recruitment closely, you know he visited Michigan for the game against Ohio State. Then shortly after that, ended up committing to Miami. Now, during this time period, you had a lot of Jim Harbaugh NFL rumors, which obviously came into fruition. And Michigan had no linebackers. Coach Chris Partridge was let go during the season. So it was kind of tough sledding for Michigan as Melendez made his decision. But like I said, Jean Mary and Martindale have both continued to recruit Elijah and made a really, really strong impression on him during this visit at his school. Melendez is now set to make an official visit to Michigan on June 14th. He actually told me he might move it up to June 7th, which is a little bit of a smaller weekend at Michigan, so he can have some more individual time with the staff. Either way, he will be on campus in June. I think that Michigan has a legitimate chance to flip Melendez. He is from Gary, Indiana, so he's originally a Midwest recruit, not a true Florida recruit. He fits well with the culture. He's already developed friendships with guys like Kenneth Grant, who's also from that Gary, Indiana area. He sees himself as a scheme fit. And again, Martindale and Jean Mary have already established great relationships with him and his family. So again, I think the door is wide open for Michigan to make a move in this recruitment and potentially flip him later in the cycle. But as we all know, Miami plays a different game when it comes to NIL. And so that's going to be a storyline to watch moving forward. And lastly, we'll end it with another flip target. Michigan secondary coach Lamar Morgan was in the state of Virginia this week. He actually went out to see Shamari Earls at Thomas Dale on Tuesday. Earls is committed to South Carolina. He's a top 100 cornerback, but Michigan making a nice little move here quietly behind the scenes. You know, Earls isn't a prospect that we've talked a lot about, but since he committed to South Carolina shortly after the arrival of Morgan, but Morgan has continued to keep in contact with him. There's a lot to like about the relationship that Morgan and Earls have built. When Morgan was out there on Tuesday, he had a chance to meet with Earls and his father. And I think that pitch from Morgan about the development, about having some similarities with Will Johnson, that really moved the needle with Earls. I went out there and I ended up seeing him on Thursday, did an interview with him, and he told me that Michigan and Georgia are the two schools that will receive official visits from him. So, Michigan and Georgia obviously have an opportunity to make a move here. No official visit with Michigan scheduled just yet, but I do think one will be scheduled soon. He's actually listed at 6'1", 175, but is a legit 6'2", 200. So that listing is definitely wrong. That's why the comp is there to Will Johnson. And again, that's something that's really appealing to him. So we'll see if Lamar Morgan can make some waves with Shamari Earls, but it appears that the Wolverines are now a legitimate threat to flip Earls away from the SEC. So for more Michigan recruiting coverage, head over to thewolverine.com right now. Sign up for $1 for 2 months using the code UM1 and get all the scoop heading into official visit season. The spring evaluation period is over. We are now hunkered down, getting ready for official visit season. Don't miss out on the best Michigan recruiting content in the market. Sign up for $1 for 2 months using the code UM1. Also, like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel for free.